Thanks for
Go ahead.
picking up the phone. I'm good.
Cool, cool. All right, bye.
Cool. Thank you, brother. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the live stream we're doing. Brought to you by our good friends at Zion, which is me and you. So thank you to you and I for bringing me this. But what's up? As you're jumping on, I always like to know where to telepathically send my energy. So amongst other things, please comment in where you are at in the world, this beautiful world of ours. Yeah, I want to know, where are you? Green Bay, Wisconsin. Come on now. I was just up in Appleton. Nick Hetcher, were you at my Appleton shows? It was very cold there. It was very cold. But I love Wisconsin. Central Florida, Blacksburg, Virginia, Cincinnati, Ohio in the house. I'm originally from Ohio. Austin, Texas. I'm not only in the house, but my house is also in Austin. Taos, New Mexico, great. Toronto, Canada, Michigan, where I lost my spot. Come on. Oh, there's everybody. Everybody's on here. I love it. Indiana, Calgary. What's up, guys? Were you in a truck? Hope so. Let's see. Colorado, Philly, New Hampshire. Dude, I forgot New Hampshire is a state. Isn't that weird? Man, Tampa, Florida. Awesome. Virginia, Peru. Come on now. Washington, Indiana. Boise, San Diego, Northern Michigan, more New Mexico. Right on. Everybody's here. Man, the Netherlands, West Indies, Texas, Iowa, Missouri, San Diego. Yes. Come on now. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being on here. Well, the purpose of this is for you and I to connect. And I want to thank, as you know, a little context. I'm the founding creator at Zion. And I'll tell you why I'm involved in Zion in a second. Maybe you've heard my spiel, but it's something I'm passionate about. And, I was sitting down with everybody at Zion, and, we were just wanting like, hey, I want to connect with people more. And they said, well, why don't we do like, hey, jump on our email list and we'll do a live Q&A with you, JP. And I said, I like that idea. And it's been a little while in the works. Just my schedule's been insane, but I so appreciate you being on here now. So the body of what we're going to do today, act like I am smart enough to know where we're going, but the Q&A. So to me, Q&A sessions, if you've ever come to one of my comedy shows, the VIP members, after the show, then we do a private gathering with the VIPs, and I love to do Q&As in those groups. And the reason why is I think it's a great excuse, great way to simply connect with people. And for me, conveying literal information is kind of like boring, sort of entertaining sometimes, couldn't be informative, but to me, I love to connect with people. So Q&As, it's something I do with my live VIP groups. And I thought, man, I want to use that as a method of connection here with you. So as we do that, just know that because you are a beautiful person who cares about freedom, or else I know you wouldn't be on Zion's email list. I bet there's 0 people on our Zion email list who are anti-freedom. It's the opposite of freedom. So what Zion stands for, Zion, it would be the opposite of what they want, because we stand for freedom. Man, brain farts are fun, aren't they? My point is, for our Q&A session, if you have questions for me about me personally, if you have questions about Zion, and or if you want to know my delusional perspectives about anything in life, any events, whatever it is, more than happy to be an open book with people who are like-minded and like-hearted. And I know we're like-minded and like-hearted. We share a lot of the same values, or else you wouldn't be on Zion's email list. So we're freedom people. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to connect. So feel free to start dropping your questions in the comments. I see they're there now, and I'm not a psychic, but I would guess we won't possibly have time to address every single question. But please drop your question in. I hope I can get to it, and we're going to get to as many as we can. And as some of the questions are coming in, I'll just share briefly for you why I'm involved in Zion. And by the way, thank you for being involved with Zion. I know some of you are already in Zion, signed up on the system, you're rocking and rolling, awesome. And if you're not, you're involved at the level of like, hey, I'm on Zion's email list. Maybe I'll join sometime, maybe I won't, which is totally cool. But here's why I got involved with Zion. Simply said, freedom really matters to me. And in our present day world, one of the, to have anything, there's also a digital component that supports that anything. And in this case, Zion is digital freedom. It's the digital infrastructure of freedom and sovereignty. And I'll tell you this real quick. And when I first sat down with Justin Rezvani, the CEO of Zion, he's super visionary. He's way smarter than me on the technical side of things. But I sat down with him last year, and he shared with me what he's doing. And by the way, like, I entered the conversation probably similar to you. Like, I've been stung for the past year and a half by censorship, and like, not even just censoring me, though I've been censored, but that's not my biggest concern. Like, censorship, my biggest concern is humanity and our future. And it's like, dude, everything hinges on free speech. Take away free speech and everything else is lost, because you can't even talk about it. You can't express truth. So I've been stung by censorship, just, really concerned with it. And of course, privacy violations, being basically at the control of centralized companies. I'd been feeling the pain, and more so I'd been fearing, what the hell is our future going to look like if there's not a solution? But the problem was, there was not a solution. There along the way, there's been alternative platforms come up that are a step away from the problem. Like, Parler was one of the first, Rumble. And I look at those platforms, and I love to say, like, genuinely, I am a fan of these alternative, platforms that pledge not to censor people. It's like, great, Parler's there, Getter, Rumble, but they don't solve the problem of censorship and centralized companies controlling people's lives. But when I sat down with Justin and learned what he's building, Zion, and where it's going, and this is, before it's even launched, well, before that, I'm learning that, and been like, I was just like, well, that's the first thing I've heard of that actually solves the problem. The Parlers, the Rumbles, they pledge not to censor, which is great. Please don't censor, everybody. But those companies are still centralized. They still could, if there was a changing of the guard, or they go public, and investors are like, well, you're not censoring, and you've got a responsibility to us, the investors, and here's a rationale for why censoring is actually important for our bottom line. Important for the mission? Who the hell cares? We're a public company. You got to prioritize the investors before the mission. And so I heard of what he's doing at Zion, and I thought, well, that's the first thing that I've heard and seen that actually seeks to solve the problem. And then Justin said, JP, I want you involved with Zion. And I said, I'm too busy. I don't have any room. And then he said, well, I want you involved at an ownership level. I want you really invested, because what you're doing in the world, this company needs a face. People need this as a solution. And it's one thing to build it, but having it sit in a closet with nobody using it, nobody aware of it to even have the option to get on, then what's the point? And I said, cool, great offer, but still too busy, can't do it. And I said, but because I know you're on the same mission as me, where you're approaching it from a different angle. Let me consider this idea. And literally after 10 minutes, I took a few days, but after 10 minutes, my heart knew this is a yes for me. I have to get involved because my mission is to help awaken people to upholding the God-given sanctity of their greatest gift in life, which is freedom. And how I've been doing that and how I'll continue to do that through my comedy is helping to awaken people to the mindset of seeing what blocks our freedom and then helping them realize what will help uphold our freedom. But with Zion, it's a very tangible tool that the world needs. It's the digital infrastructure of freedom and sovereignty. So I said, bro, I've been thinking about it. I don't need anything else to do, but I have to do this. My heart says yes. It's just so mission aligned. So it's been a joy to go along the way with what we've done at Zion. I'm proud of what we've done, and I'm incredibly excited about how we're evolving. We're going to have a whole version 2 of Zion released in a month. So it's just been a joy to be involved in Zion, and it's so meaningful to me that you've taken a moment to, at the very least, join the Zion email list. And some of you I know are in Zion already. So grateful because the mission is what matters most to me. And like anyone, I know you're on a mission as well. So you know what I'm saying when I say that, the mission is what matters most. How you get there doesn't really matter, but accomplishing the mission is what really matters. And I see Zion as a very important tool to accomplish the mission. If we don't have the digital infrastructure of freedom and sovereignty to network and socialize, then the mission isn't going to be accomplished. It's one thing to have freedom in a three-dimensional way. We need that. I'm going to keep crusading for that. But as the Facebooks have taught us, we need the online version as well. So it's been a joy to be a part of Zion. It's going to continue to be in my ecosystem. And let's get into some questions. Thank you for listening to me share why I'm here. First question, Panda Cookies 213. Is that your real name? How do I wake up my family from CNN? Woo! It's like, wow, how do I wake up someone who's regularly ingesting large amount of sleeping pills? So I'll give you a clumsy answer. I certainly don't have the full picture. And this is something in my live Q&As I do with my VIP groups at comedy shows. This is a very common question. My first thought, most important thought is your and I's job is not to wake up the sheep. It's to wake up the lions. Now, here's the problem. If you're an awake person, you're a lion to whatever degree. You're a lion. But if the lions always waste their time waking up sheep that are not going to wake up, your lion energy that could be contributing to make the world a better, more awake place, awakening other people, it's going to be lost. So I like to have the mindset, I'm here to wake up lions, not sheep. Other people, they'll address the sleep. That's more of a slow wake up. But the idea of like, I'm here to wake up the lions. And that basically means I'm here to wake up the people that are ready to wake up. People who are going to fight for their limitations. They're going to fight to reinforce not truth, but the narrative. Those people aren't ready to wake up. They're a great person. They'll be able to wake up sometime. I don't know if that's 10 days, 10 years, 10 lifetimes. I don't know. So because you're a lion with valuable life energy that can be used to contribute to a better world, I would just say, don't waste too much of your time trying to wake up family that are addicted to CNN. Try. You share truth, do it respectfully, lovingly, accept them for who they are. But when you meet the resistance, they're not ready to budge at all. Cool. Please love them, hug them, give them a hug, then move on. That's tough. By the way, like we think of like tyranny, like, dude, tyranny is awesome. Awesome. What the hell? That's a subconscious slip of mine. But a lot of us online, we'd say tyranny, that is awful. People trying to control other people, horrible. Make sure you don't become the tyrannist. You and I could become the tyrannical person for our cause, where we try to control other people. Like, I want you to be awake. I want you to see the truth. We have to do it in a graceful way, a passionate way, but not a tyrannical way. So we can pretty easily become what we're trying to fight and what we're trying to wake people out of if we're not careful. Let's see. How to live naturally without being disconnected from nature by going on digital and data layers. That's a great question. I don't know if I comprehend how it's formed. How to live naturally without being disconnected from nature by going on digital and data layers. Afsana, I love your question, but I don't understand it. Feel free to comment in with some clarity, expand a little bit what you mean. It's probably on me that I'm not comprehending it. Let's see. Bitcoin, blockchain, and Zion allow freedom. Not a question, but it's a statement of truth. Let's see. This is a great question. Dan Bergquist, tell me what you see as the future of Zion 2 to 5 years out. How will it be impacting people? I love the question. And to me, it's simple. In 2 to 5 years, and I think much faster than that, version 2 that launches next month will accomplish a big piece of this. Here's what I see with Zion. At a high level, my mother gets on Zion and is easily able to sign up and function, period. To do her social networking, to connect with friends, to join communities. That's what I see. Now, why I say that is as simple as Zion is relative to the complexity of how it's built. It's the layer 3 technology where you have Bitcoin, which is the safest, most secure system known to man. And then you have the Lightning Network built on Bitcoin. And then you have Zion. As complex as that is, the interface and usability of Zion is incredibly simple compared to that. Yet still, the team is constantly working on improvements, because right now, those of you who have been on Zion, okay, cool. You sign up, there's like 2 or 3 extra steps you have to do compared to if you're signing up for Facebook. You've got your private keys and your public key. And then you get someone like my mom, and I love her to death, but she'd be like, what is a private key? And I do what with that now? I want to take those small obstacles out of everybody's way, because everybody who wants access to decentralized, permissionless, empowering technology, censorship resistant, I want everybody who wants access to it to have access to it. So, and in that 2 to 5 years, hopefully sooner, all the functionality of a normal social media network, you've got it on Zion. And it's like, I want people to be able to use Zion and have no idea how exquisitely special, unique, and empowering it is. So when you start to learn about Zion, like, dude, all right, it's decentralized. It's all encrypted. When you message me on Zion, you're actually sending me a small micro Bitcoin payment, and the message is packaged with that payment. That's how it's able to be sent via Bitcoin to me. Then that's unencrypted, and that micro payment is automatically sent back to you. high-tech stuff. But you don't need to know any of that to be on Zion. Basically, all you need to know is what the problem is. Zion solves the problem. It does all that cool technical stuff to solve it, but you don't need to know any of that to be on Zion and take advantage of it as a way of connecting with people, communicating, being part of creator communities, that kind of thing. So, long story short, it's where I see Zion. Thank you very much for the question, Dan. Hollis Vaughn, where do I find a crypto tutor? Hollis, very short answer I'll give you. One of the best, I'll give you two names. Two of the best sources of education in the crypto community who are also like freedom is really important and crypto is a way that facilitates freedom. Write these two names down, please. Robert Breedlove, and you can find him on YouTube, and Mark Moss. You can find him on YouTube. Mark Moss also has his community on Zion now as well. So search for him there. But Robert Breedlove and Mark Moss, I found to be very wise, very well versed in the crypto space. And they're both great people. I've had a chance to talk with them at length, one-on-one, and I love those guys. Let's see. Maya Jones, let me read your question out loud. How does cryptocurrency work with a power outage or a cyber attack like Klaus Schwab describes as a worm that will erase all data? Will having physical paperwork ensure we get our money back? Great question, Maya. I don't know, but let me pretend like I do know, and I'll give you what I think would be the answer. But just know, I don't know. But here's what I would guess. So our good friend Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, who's rehearsing cyber attacks, and we'd say, "Whoa, that's to protect against cyber attacks, right, Klaus? Right, Klaus?" And Klaus is also one. He, along with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, rehearsed the pandemic with Event 201 well before the pandemic actually started. So it's like, dude, are y'all just planning these things with your rehearsals? Long story short, a cyber attack from Klaus Schwab. It's a valid question. So with a cyber attack, first off, we have immediate concerns: food, shelter, protection. Though, like, before we worry about money, we realize like we might have bigger things to worry about before money even matters: food, shelter, security. And then with that, so yeah, if all of the internet's just down because our freaking Dr. Evils knocked it down, we got a problem. Yeah, it's a problem. Like, is all our crypto lost forever? Hopefully not. You obviously you want to hold on to your private keys, but in theory, the internet would eventually come back. I mean, is that a day? Is it 10 days? Is it even 10 years? So that would be the hope. And by the way, like all our digital, our US currencies, like unless you have a bunch of cash at your house, that's the same boat. Like you won't have access to that as long as the internet's down. So when it comes to crypto, having physical paperwork to ensure you get your money back, I don't know that does anything other than ensuring you have a physical hard copy of your private keys to then access your digital crypto wallet once you're able to get back online. But you mentioned the possibility of a worm that erases all data. I haven't heard about that specifically. If that happens, like if all data is released, sounds like we would be super screwed. And we'd probably be in the place where we have people trying to get into our house to eat our flesh. So we have some big things to worry about if that's the case. Klaus Schwab, ladies and gentlemen, what a Piece of garbage. Ugh. It's great. One other question of Zion that comes up, I'll be brief on this, get some other stuff. Deborah Grayville, I want to support Zion very much, but none of my friends are on Zion or will pay for it. Yeah, so first off, Zion's not for everyone. And if it is for you, even if your friends aren't on it, a couple of the other benefits are there's creator communities on there where you can join, and if you get to have all the fun and none of your friends do, like, cool, you're part of the creator community. You can contribute to communities, which is, in my opinion, super fun. And we're at a kind of like the gold rush of establishing communities on Zion, where you think back to like YouTube started in 2006. And I know people who started YouTube like right around 2006, 2007, and they were really crappy. Like their videos like are just not good. And they built up millions of followers. How'd they do that? Not because they produced great videos that were better than average, but because they were there at the gold rush at YouTube's inception. So it was easy to build a big audience on YouTube back in 2006, 7, and 8, simply because not many creators were on YouTube, which made it way easier for you to be organically discovered and grow just because you're on YouTube. We're at the very early stages of Zion, and we have the community ledger, which means when you establish a community, people are always searching through our community ledger, like, what type of community do I want to get? Like, what's your subject? Like, are you nutrition? Are you freedom? Are you whatever you are? And so they can see the available communities. So now, I mean, relative to 5 years from now, there's very few communities on Zion, which means the chances of you getting organic eyeballs and members are much greater. So anyway, with that said, Deborah, if it's for you, great. Love to have you in. And if not, awesome. Let's see. Love these questions. Sorry, I'm trying to read questions so I know if it's an actual question or just someone giving great info. Cool. Average family man. I read the first 3 words of your question, so let's tackle it. Node functions. So with regard to node functions, will my single node work for multiple entities, such as a private family channel, public channel, business channel, all operating from my single node? Yes. Yeah. So I've got my node. That's how I'm on Zion. Makes you decentralized. For the layperson, what is a node? A node is basically just your private server. And if you're like me, you'd be like, I don't know how to have a private server. That's why I rent my node from Zion. It's hosted on the cloud. They can't access it. It's all encrypted, my private keys. I'm the only one who can get in. But I have my single node, and that's what I run my, personal, basically my personal essence on Zion. And that's also what I've got my public community, my JP Sears Awaken Warrior community. And I could also form like a bunch of other communities all on that single node. So yeah, you could have multiple entities running on Zion, and, assuming they're all like you, but you could have like whatever, 5 businesses with your corresponding communities on Zion, and you just need a single node. Thank you. I'm not a techie. I better not be wrong on that. Pretty sure I'm right. Let's see. Brendan says, I'm going to get a Zion node. Screw it. We'll set it up later. Awesome. Hello from an unvaccinated Kiwi in Russia. Thank you for being one of my sanity lifelines. Yeah, right on. What do you think of this great reset that's supposed to happen? SD Trader 11. The great reset doesn't seem so great. And the context of that, thank you for the question. Our friend Klaus Schwab, who we were just talking about, he and his reptilian friends at the World Economic Forum have their great reset that's currently going. And their great reset, it's part of their tagline is by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy about it. So tyrannical control, one world government is what that's about. And of course, they have their virtue signaling, their weaponized morality to try to manipulate people into being compliant with their great reset agenda, whether it's fear mongering about climate change, fear mongering about whatever, fear mongering about cyber attacks. All these things are real, but the fear mongering around them isn't based in reality. It's based on manipulation. So we're either going to have the Great Reset or the Great Awakening. Personally, I think we're having the Great Awakening. And here's the beautiful part. Have you ever seen Klaus Schwab speak, like videos? If you have, like he's not a trustworthy, normal person coming from his heart. He says, we're helping humanity. That's why we'll own everything and you'll own nothing. So in spite of his words saying we're doing this to help the planet, if you've seen him speak, you don't get that vibe. You get that is your energy, your tonality, everything about you doesn't match what you're saying. You're untrustworthy. So when a person like him or Fauci, any of the rest, Trudeau, when they speak, I'm so grateful, because those tyrants who are trying to usher in the Great Reset are waking people up, because people are way more intelligent, way more in touch with their hearts and their guts than these tyrants give them credit for. Now, it can take sheep a few years to wake up. I've talked to people just recently, 2 years into this 15-day lockdown, and they said, JP, thank you for doing what you're doing. This video that you just released, that was the straw that broke this camel's back of sleepiness. It helped wake me up finally. So even though people can be very committed to staying a sleeping sheep for a while, people are going to wake up. And they are waking up in masses. And I think the more these tyrants talk, the more they wake people up, because they're just not believable. They're so obvious. So I think those who are trying to usher in the Great Reset are ironically creating the Great Awakening. And I think it's a beautiful thing. A lot of atrocities, not happy about that. But I think humanity is going to be better off, because we don't wake up to our true power and strength unless we have a stimulus to wake us up. So life had been cozy and easy for a really long time. And, we've all heard the saying, hard times create strong people create easy times create weak people. We've had easy times for a while, which means we've had some weak people. My hands are raised on that. But these weak people can become strong people. We just have to awaken to our real strength. Where do we get our real strength? By letting our words and actions be in impeccable alignment with what our heart and our soul knows to be true. And we use our own critical thinking as our compass. We don't outsource our truth. That is a very strong crop of human who does that. An awake person, one more time, just for the people in the back. A strong, awake person is one who lets their heart and their soul guide their actions. Your actions, your words are going to be in alignment with your heart and soul and your values, and your own critical thinking, not outsourced thinking. The tyrants are helping us wake up to that, which is beautiful. So we see the consequences of outsourcing your truth, like, then they have all this control. We see the consequences of outsourcing control of our online experience, like, oh, Facebook knows more about me than I do. So they've helped wake us up to the consequences of outsourcing our greatness and outsourcing our control. And therefore, we're more motivated to insource it. Let our truth come from ourselves. Like Zion wouldn't have been created if there wasn't the need for it. If waking up to the consequences of centralized control, data breaches, censorship, if that didn't happen, there wouldn't be Zion, for example. Great question. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I think of the Great Reset. It can also, the Great Reset can shampoo my crotch. That is based on science. Let's see. Bob Huber mentioned, not a question here, just a comment. My favorite video was the "You Must Wear a Life Jacket" video, or life preserver. Thank you, Bob. Hey, fun fact, right before I jumped onto this video, I just got back. I was at a big body of water here in Austin filming the next life jacket video. And I'll be careful what I'm saying because we're currently broadcast on YouTube, brought to you by Google, watched over by the censors. So you probably know on March 1st, a judge, it was ordered by a court, Pfizer had to release 10,000 pages of safety and effectiveness data on you know what on March 1st. And it came out, and it's thick stuff to sift through. So anyway, I just made a video. It'll come out soon. I filmed it today, and the video is going over the safety data just released by the Flotation Device Administration about life jackets. So thank you for being a fan of the past life jacket videos, and another one coming your way. We don't outsource our truth. Amen. Yes. Brendan Valentine, thank you. The Klaus Schwab video is awesome. Yeah, also, thank you. I forgot to mention it. Obviously, some of y'all have seen it. If you haven't, as I was rambling about Klaus Schwab, a reptile for a while, if you haven't watched it, I released a video called just this past Saturday called "Is Klaus Schwab the Most Dangerous Man in the World?" And in it, there's shocking video of him and his top people at his World Economic Forum conference saying things that are so shocking. The material that they're saying is shocking itself. Then it's shocking when you realize they're saying this on camera. Why are they leaving evidence? So I made a video commentating on a lot of the shocking garbage that these reptiles say. Video's taken off really well. I've got last check 1.1 million views on it on YouTube in just 3 days, which is really great. And I hate to be an idiot that name drops, but I'll name drop some of my heroes. Love the video and what it called out. I got a phone call from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. right away. Dr. Robert Malone shared the video out. He texted me about it. So there's a lot to wake up to about Klaus Schwab. Why? So we don't outsource the reality of what happens to us. Because just like we don't want to outsource our truth, we don't want to outsource our destiny to anyone other than ourselves, in my opinion. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, like Jonathan Kraus, thank you for this question. Besides these like-minded individuals on this live stream, what other Zion/Rumble subscriptions people do you listen to? who's your favorite? Man, that's a great question. Uh, I don't I don't have I don't spend a lot of time consuming content. Usually when I'm consuming content, like I'm researching a video topic, so it's like whatever content comes up for that, I'm diving into. But I'll give you a couple of sources that I find valuable. First, I think and this might not quite be the question, but here's the answer. I think the best source of news to consider, take it with a grain of salt if it doesn't come from you, is called the Epoch Times. They seem to be what journalism is supposed to be. I also love the Daily Wire, and unapologetically they lean right on everything. So there's a bit of a predictable perspective that they have on everything, and sometimes I think it's cool, right on, and other times it's like, yeah, you've got your own bias. But I love the Daily Wire, amongst other reasons, is because it helps balance the polarity. You look at the leftist spin, and they typically have great like perspective shifts about that, and then you can find your truth anywhere in the middle. Also, I will say, and he's not on Zion. I want to. We need him on there. But DC Drano, if you follow him on any of the social medias, he's great. He just says it like it is. He's unapologetic. He's great. Oh yeah, Grace 38.3. It's very confusing. Mentions I love Russell Brand. Angela Brooks Reese asked Russell Brand. I think he's great too. Yeah, I think Russell Brand might be one of the most important voices in the world right now. I mean, not only do I just love the guy, but I think his importance on the planet is beyond just enjoying him. I mean, he's so poetic, he's so funny, but he's just become a freaking warrior, the past year or so, where he's calling out tyrants. He's doing in like he's now a kind of like a legit spiritual teacher. So he's doing all this in a way where the epicenter of his message is helping guide you back to your truth. And we just need more of that. We need people brilliantly calling out lies and corruptions, but we don't need people doing that in a way that brainwashes folks to just believe something else. Even if we know that something else is true, brainwashing people into truth is not the way to do it. It's not sustainable. It's kind of tyrannical. But Russell Brand does it in a way where he's guiding you to find what is your truth. Cool. Like, here's what's not true, apparently, with this corruption. And what are your thoughts about it? I love me some Russell Brand. Yes. Grace. Grace, thank you. JP, I met you in Kanab, Utah at a comedy show. Hell yeah. Kanab. I think that was back in very early May of 2021. That was a great trip. Which, by the way, I went to Zion National Park there. Zion is how everybody tells me to pronounce it. But here we are, Zion National platform. Let's see what we got. Get to just a couple more before we wrap up. One thing I wanted to spend just a couple minutes on. I don't need to beat this horse into life too much, but because I have a chance to be connected to very wise people who are top of their fields and what's going on, there's always a question of like, hey, where do you think the world's going and what can we do? So here's my perspective, and I want to kind of digest and summarize what I've learned from people who I'm very privileged to have access to. So where are we going and how can we prepare? First, how I look at it is, um, let's prepare for where we don't want to go and energize where we do want to go. So it's like an insurance plan. I do think I do think freedom's going to win. I'm very optimistic about that. I do think things will get worse before they get better. What does that look like? I don't know. Not a psychic. So I do think freedom wins. So along that lines, though, whether it's like things get better before they get worse, or like, hell, what if my prediction's wrong and like freedom doesn't really win, at least for a few generations or millennia, which it will. But one of the common denominators amongst all the just warriors out there who are very respected, it comes down to get your house in order. And what does that mean? Stop outsourcing your destiny to anyone that's outside of you. Stop outsourcing your destiny to centralized companies. And that's high level, like that encompasses a lot. Hitting the zoom in button a little bit more, get your house in order. Stop outsourcing what, JP? Your ability to live is a big piece of this. So, food, shelter, protection, those are things where hopefully we never have to rely on ourselves for that, like, in a challenging situation. But right now, if all of our food, shelter, protection, banking, water, if that's all outsourced, we realized we've outsourced our destiny. We give someone else control over our lives. They may never have nefarious intentions, and some do, certainly. So get your house in order, I think, includes up leveling our self-responsibility. And for me and my family, we're progressively building this. We're not like, shut down our lives and let's start the farm right now. No, we're just give you a quick example of how we're doing it gradually. Last year we bought like 6 months worth of non-perishable foods, so we can, as well as like contained water. So it's like, cool, we'll be good for a while. Hopefully we never need that. Just like an insurance policy, you hope you never need it, but if you need it, you'll be sorry if you don't have it. And then, protection, stop outsourcing our protection. So last year, one of my steps was bought a gun. And just as importantly, I bought gun training with it, and personal defense and family defense instruction. So that's an example of get your house in order, and an example of how we've up leveled. Hey, we have 6 months of non-perishable foods. Now we're putting a food forest in our backyard, which is like a really cool thing to do. But it's so many people are set up way better than that. So many people are way worse than that, but it's the next step for us. So with regard to get your house in order, which all the wise people are saying, like, that's just what you need to do. By the way, as we're doing it, I'm finding the peace of mind it gives me, it's well worth it. We spend a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, a few $1,000s, and like the level of peace of mind it gives me. And I hope we, like all the perishable, non-perishable food, hope we have to burn it one day. I hope we never need it, but it gives me so much peace of mind. And if I imagine, like, whatever, is it Klaus Schwab doing a cyber attack and therefore banks don't work and therefore, you can't buy stuff at a grocery store, grocery stores are shut down, supply chains are shut down. And we've seen a lot of this stuff flirted with. But if that happens, we're going to be better than okay. So get your house in order. And part of getting your house in order is taking control of finances. And we know right now inflation is just out of control, and it looks like they're going to be doing things to make it more out of control. So I've taken a lot of money out of our savings account and bought Bitcoin with it over the past year. And get your house in order. I mean, that's why I'm putting so much energy into helping build Zion. And like, one, I want the world to benefit from it, but also selfishly, like, hell, I'm outsourcing control of my social media to these big tech companies. I want to do that. I don't want to. So, part of getting your house in order is being able to control your own life. Food, water, shelter, money, whether that's money or crypto. And so, in protecting against inflation is a piece that I really consider with regard to getting your house in order. Uh, a video that really woke me up, because I used to really diss cryptocurrency, but dude, this pyramid scheme stuff only has value because other people think it has value, but it doesn't have any inherent value. A lot of cryptos are actually like that. They're just pyramid schemes. But specifically, the way Bitcoin's been built, the technology and how it is like limited supply, and the level of security it has, what woke me up to actually going from my ignorant way of thinking of like, oh, this is pyramid scheme, to like, oh, this is actually a more valuable store of value than US dollars. Tony Robbins sent me a private video he did with Michael Saylor. If the name Michael Saylor is new to you, he's one of the authorities in the Bitcoin world as far as advising and teaching the world about its actual value. He's an incredible communicator. And before him, I'd hear people talk about Bitcoin, but it's like I wasn't being communicated to in an intelligent way. It's kind of like, you got to buy Bitcoin. I'm like, why? They're like, you should. I'm like, oh, I'm not convinced for some reason. But what Michael Saylor explained is right now, holding your money, holding your value in US money, most currencies around the world, it's like you're holding an ice cube. It's literally melting. Like, I grew up saying like, dude, save money, put it in a savings account. Cool. But now you're losing money if the money's just sitting in a savings account. So Michael Saylor helped me wake up to see that US dollars, it's not a very safe way of storing your value. It's like you're holding an ice cube, but putting my value into Bitcoin, that ice isn't melting. It's growing. People say, well, it's volatile, which means the value goes down, it goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down a little bit, goes up, goes down a lot, goes up. The volatility is part of what makes it so valuable, because the value goes up quite a bit. And I wouldn't recommend like, hey, if you want to, put your money in Bitcoin for a week, like I can't advise on that. I'm not a financial advisor, but for a long-term store of value, long-term investment, I've really gotten into Bitcoin as a way of getting my house in order. By the way, that's completely independent of then learning, oh, you mean a social media network can be built on Bitcoin in the same way Bitcoin ensures the security, the decentralization of money. It can do that to communication as well. What? Yeah. Because the social network is built on Bitcoin, therefore it uses the same ethos of Bitcoin because it's literally built on Bitcoin, which was pretty cool to discover outside of how Bitcoin is what I consider to be a very important store of value. Of course, that's why Zion is now built on Bitcoin. So yeah, get your house in order. Whatever that means to you, do it gradually, not in a way where you're freaked out, high stress levels, losing your mind. Nope. Guess what? If you do that, your house is out of order. So stay in order while you get your house in order. We can all look at where we're at and take small, consistent steps to empower ourselves to be the free range humans that we're meant to be. And getting decentralized is not only important to me with regard to social media, not only important to me with regard to money. That's why I'm now putting more money into Bitcoin than I am into my savings account, but getting decentralized into um, with your food, your water. And for God's sakes, let's get decentralized with our thinking. Stop outsourcing our thinking, stop outsourcing our destiny. Those should not be centralized affairs. We want to be decentralized humans when it comes to our lives and our destinies. That's why God gave us the great gift of being an individual, not a freaking slug in a whole mound of slugs. So with that said, as we've got to wrap up, man, I so appreciate you being on here. And if I could have one ask, I'm going to throw this at you. If you're on Zion already, thank you for being on. It just means the world to me. And if you're not on Zion, then my one ask would be consider it. If you're someone where censorship doesn't concern you, centralized authorities don't concern you, manipulative algorithms don't concern you, then I promise you, Zion's not for you. Not going to be worth your time and the little bit of money it costs each month to have your own node and to be on Zion. But if censorship is something that concerns you, you look into the future and realize it'll get much worse if we don't actively make it better. If freeing yourself from manipulative algorithms is important to you, and you energizing the change that you wish to see in the world is important to you, then my ask would be jump into Zion if it feels right to you. A lot of people say, like, what can I do to make the world a better place? Well, first off, I think being on Zion can make your own inner world a better place. But there's also a reality where those of us who are on Zion, just by being on Zion, the way the network works is when you're on it, you are helping to build the digital infrastructure of freedom and sovereignty, which means other people have more opportunity to access and get on Zion if they want. So just by signing up for Zion, you're literally making the world a better place and contributing to the growth, just kind of like a rainforest, but in the digital world, the growth of this what I would call the safest and most civil place on the internet, Zion. It's a place we've needed. Problem is, it hasn't been available. Now the beautiful thing is it's available here. And I'm proud of how Zion is now, what we've grown. It's in its infancy, for crying out loud. And I'm so excited about where it's going. Version 2, I teased that a little bit ago. Version 2 is going to be dropping next month, and it's just a different world, next level. It's outstanding. So with that said, if you would like to be an active part of the change we wish to see in the world, to move the needle to decentralized, censorship resistant, you can't censor even if you wanted to, you as a person control your own data, and the people are empowered, not the companies having power over the people being empowered. But if you want to help contribute to that, then being on Zion, it literally makes a difference. And all you need to do, go to getzion.com/JP. I'll type that in the chat. Getzion.com/JP. You can sign up. Get yourself a node. It's a few bucks a month. And because Zion doesn't sell you as a product, they just sell you a product because honesty and transparency is important to us. So go to getzion.com/JP. You can sign up if you're called to right now and download the app on your phone. And if you do that, my one ask would be join my community right away. Just search JP Sears Awakened Warriors, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the inside, whether that's now or a little bit into the future. Thank you guys for joining me here. Love y'all. Stay free.